Before we continue, we'd like to give a shout out to our friends at the New Brunswick Aviation Museum. Are you passionate about aviation and preserving Canada's rich military and civilian aviation history? Look no further than the New Brunswick Aviation Museum, or simply known as the NBAM, one of the newest and most exciting museum projects in the country. Located in the heart of New Brunswick, the NBAM is dedicated to honoring the men and women who served in Canada's #1 Air Division. As a provincially incorporated not-for-profit organization and a registered charity with the Canadian Revenue Agency, the NBAM relies solely on donations to bring this project to life. The New Brunswick Aviation Museum will be a premier destination for aviation enthusiasts, historians, and anyone interested in exploring the fascinating story of flight in Canada. But in order to make it a reality, they need your support. So how can you help? It's very easy. Simply visit the donation page at canadahelps.org or simply click the link in our episode description to make a secure donation online. Every contribution, big or small, will bring them closer to achieving their goal of creating a world-class aviation museum that New Brunswickers can be proud of. Together, we can make this vision a reality and preserve the rich aviation history of our province for generations to come. Donate today and be a part of this exciting journey. The Corcoran Entertainment Show is brought to you by Podmatch, the ultimate platform designed to connect podcast hosts with prospective guests effortlessly. Are you a podcaster looking to elevate your show to new heights? Or perhaps you're a guest hoping to share your story with a broader audience. Whatever your podcasting goals are, we have the perfect solution for you. Podmatch simplifies the entire process of discovering guests for your show or finding podcasts to feature your expertise. Now imagine a platform where you can easily match with like-minded creators tailored specifically to your niche. With Podmatch, you can effortlessly network with influencers and thought leaders, all while staying true to your podcast vision. There are a multitude of ways that Podmatch can help you grow your brand. You can be part of a thriving community of podcasters and potential guests. Engage, collaborate, and grow together. If you're ready to experience these fantastic benefits for yourself, we invite you to join Podmatch today. Head over to www.joinpodmatch.com/Corcoran Entertainment and sign up right now for only $6 a month. That's right, you heard me right, $6 a month. Join the Podmatch family today and watch your podcast soar to new altitudes. Thank you for tuning into the Corcoran Entertainment Show, and happy podcasting. Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to the Corcoran Entertainment Show. I am your host, Frankie Corcoran. How we all doing? We all having a good week, good month, good year? I hope so, because so far things are going good. And it's gonna be a busy year, I think, and it's gonna be a good year. Before we start, I just want to, speaking of being a busy year, I just want to give a little, quick little plug for all of you local listeners out there, or if you're from wherever you're from, if you're from the States or whatever, and you're looking to take a little vacation, come on down here to Miramichi, New Brunswick, and come check out some of the cool stuff we have. I'm very, very excited. CM Productions, I'm taking part in our newest show, Who's Underwear, a hilarious farce by Canadian authors Marsha Cash and Doug Hughes. Hilarious show. Jane and Sybil are on the verge of the deal of their lives. They have rented a hotel suite for a very private showing of their fashion wear lingerie. Only famous Italian designer Bruno Frufarelli is to attend. The models are booked, the champagne is on ice, and the sexy samples are on display. They have anticipated every contingency except the arrival of their jealous husbands, who have jumped to the wrong conclusions, combined suspicious spouses, stolen underwear, and mistaken identities with $5 million, a scantily clad model, and a lecherous security guard, and you have the recipe for this giddy farce in the classic tradition. Show dates February 20th, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd at 7 p.m. at the Miramichi Valley High School Theater. Tickets are $20 and can be purchased by or reserved by calling or texting 506-625-2398 or at the door. I'm so excited to be part of this, and hope that you guys come on out. Have a good time. It's just a laugh out loud comedy, nothing to be taken really seriously, but having a blast with it, and everyone's working really, really hard for it. And another plug that I want to go is for Corcoran Entertainment's next show, which I'm really, really excited about. The Fourth Movement, an artist story. It's a collab between me and Concert Time Collective, a script that I'm really very, very proud of, and I'm very excited to bring it to life. Basically tells the story, the journey of Leo Dalton, a celebrated playwright who once stood at the pinnacle of the classical music world, from the highs of his early success as a classical musician to the soul-searching moments that led him to become a playwright. Leo's story is one of passion, ambition, perseverance, and devastation. Witness as he shares his most intimate thoughts and feelings backed by a multi-talented string quartet who will capture the essence of his journey. It'll also be a dessert theater, so March 7th and 8th at the Beaverbrook Kin Center. Tickets are $20 and can be purchased on Eventbrite at the door or reserved by texting or calling 1-506-624-3315, and there will be dessert served at the intermission, so if you can RSVP, that would be greatly appreciated to help with those preparations. So that's it for our plugs this week. We had quite a few of them, but lots of good stuff going on, and just it's great to be busy. It's always nice to be busy. So moving on to our show today, we have a great guest today. I'm really excited to have him on here. Flat Earth Dave, you guys know him. Also, David Weiss. He's the host of the Flat Earth podcast. Who he's very dedicated to spreading his knowledge about why the Earth is flat. Is it flat? Is it not? Well, Dave seems to think so, and he has a lot of good points with regards to that. So we talk about a lot of things. Definitely be sure to go to his website, www.flatearthdave.com, and you can find everything that he's on social media and all that stuff. Later in the show, I want to give my thoughts on Chris Evans. Is he coming back to Marvel? Well, he seems to be switching gears. Before we heard he was coming back. Now apparently he's not. Let's discuss that. And then I also want to give my thoughts. We have a little bit of an update on the upcoming Malcolm in the Middle revival. And just want to give my thoughts with regards to what can we expect. What do I expect from it? And what do I want from it? Especially, it's one of my favorite shows of all time that's coming back. So obviously, hope it delivers. We really do. But anyways, guys, without further ado, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the podcast today. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Corcoran Entertainment Show. I am your host, Frankie Corcoran, and today I am joined by a gentleman who is known as a force to be reckoned with in the cosmology scene. I couldn't say that word for a second. You know him. He is the host of the Flat Earth podcast. And he has cemented his position as a leading voice for those who question the shape of our world. I love that description. Flat Earth Dave, or David Weiss. David, how's it going?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on, Frankie.
Yes, it's my pleasure. And so really, the first question I really have to ask you right off the bat is the Earth flat?
Jesse Lee Peterson asked me that question 50 times in a row, and I wouldn't answer it because what is the definition of flat? You know, is your floor flat?
I mean, technically
the floor in your
speaking,
room right now,
it is very flat. Yeah.
Well, if you looked at it with a microscope, would it look flat?
Probably.
It would look
yes.
like the Alps. It would look like the Alps. It has rough surfaces and stuff. So the Earth, as described by many CIA and released government documents, is a level, non-rotating plane. All aircraft, treat the world as a level, non-rotating plane, which doesn't sound like a spinning, wobbling, rocky ball in space.
Did you always believe this case? Like, did you always believe that Earth was flat? Did you think otherwise? How did that kind of start for you?
So we're all indoctrinated to believe in the globe, from day one in school, even before school. Sesame Street has astronauts and everything is globe programming. So the question you're going to ask, and we should save it for the end, is why would they lie? What difference does it make? I still have to go to work on Monday. We've all been programmed to say that. And so No, of course I was a glober. I was actually doing a conspiracy podcast looking into lots of different deception in the world. And people started sending me flat earth stuff. Dave, have you looked into flat earth? And first I thought that's the dumbest thing ever. Watch this video. I'm like, I'm not watching your stupid video. Just watch this 2 minute video, just 2 minutes. I'm like, not watching it. It's not worth it. Flat earth is too dumb, right? Because when you Google flat earth, you get a disk floating in space, a flat earth floating in heliocentric space. That's two false models, right? So the question is, the people that think flat earth is stupid have no idea what flat earth is, and they also don't know what their own model is. Right now, I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions, and
Yes.
and let's see if you did better than I did, because I got them all wrong. So if you get one right, you did better than I did. Okay, what is the radius of the Earth?
Oh,
the globe.
Jesus.
What is the circumference of the Earth? What is the distance from the Earth to the sun? How did they figure that out?
Oh, good Lord. Are we allowed to call chat GBT?
No, you can't.
No, I can't.
What is the orbital speed of the Earth? What is the rotational speed? Right, these are things that you've never they taught them for 1 minute in class, maybe, if they taught it all, because if you actually think about it, it's absolutely ridiculous, right? You know what a light year is, right?
Light year, yeah.
Yeah, conceive of light year. Light goes, they say 1,186,000 miles a second. That times a year's worth of seconds. That's pretty damn far, right?
Mm.
They tell us that the closest star to our solar system is 25 light years away. Okay. Yeah. So your mind, not yours, all of us, are unable to conceive of that. Now, that's the closest neighbor that we have, right? Supposedly, allegedly, right? So let's put that into let's think about that for a second. If you and I got in a rocket ship, we're traveling faster than anyone else has ever gone, a mile per second, and we traveled for 1 trillion seconds. So, by the way, 25 light years is no, I'm sorry, it's 4.5 light years, which equals 25 trillion miles. So if you and I got in a rocket ship that was going for a mile per second for 1 trillion seconds, we've gone 1 trillion miles, right? Mile per second times 1 trillion seconds is 1 trillion miles. 31,000 years. Okay. 1 trillion seconds is 31,000 years. So if we traveled for 31,000 years at that mile per second, whatever that is, we'd have to do that 24 more times to get to the closest star. And then the next star is magnitudes farther. But if Elon lent us a rocket that goes 100,000 miles an hour, can't even fathom that speed, it would only take us 28,000 years to get there. Do you see what happens when we talk about these numbers? Minds just shut down. People don't have the ability to comprehend large numbers.
No, right? I can't either.
Yeah.
I'm like what do they say? Like my mind can handle one number at a time, and then once you throw 5 or 6 at me, I'm like a train.
Yeah. So do you know anything about cryptocurrency?
Not much, no.
All right. Well, so cryptocurrency, I'll just, for those of you that know and those of you that don't know, you have things called wallets and private keys, and your private key is a string of numbers and letters mixed together. And I forget how it's like 50 or I forget the number of digits, but they're just random. If somebody figured out your private key, they could steal all your money. All they need is the number, right? So if you got all the supercomputers in the world going through every possible combination of that many random numbers and letters mixed together, it would take something like 60 sextillion years, which is a number you can't comprehend, before they would find one active wallet. That's called the law of large numbers, right? So cosmology does the same thing. Like, oh, these things are so far away that your mind just shuts down and you don't actually think about it. But cosmology is literally Narnia. None of it makes any sense when you actually held its feet to the fire. So here's the thing. People normally just shove this off, or they Google flat Earth. Top 10 reasons the Earth is flat, and Google will feed you top 10 reasons the Earth is a globe. That should raise an eyebrow. That should make you wonder, like, what is going on? Why are they not giving me what I'm asking for? Because they're trying to hide it, and we're going to get into why. But once you see that the Earth is intelligently designed, flat, and intelligently designed means flat means it's intelligently designed, because you can't have a Big Bang. Then everything changes. And that's what the ruling elite don't want. They don't want you in a situation where you can't deny intelligent creation. Just for those of you that are like, You got your hand on the mouse, ready to click away. Um, on my website, flatearthdave.com, right? I created an app that bypasses all the censorship. Love you to get the app. It's $3 one-time charge. But if you don't want to get the app, if you're like, I'm not sure about this, this is crazy, scroll down to where you see a picture of me. It says Flat Earth Dave and it says Crash Course. Click the Crash Course button, and there's a list of videos there that Google is hiding from you. They're all on YouTube, but Google's hiding them for you. You'll never find them. And I say, watch the first three. Just it, just the first three. It is scientifically impossible to watch the first three and remain a glober.
It just changes your whole perspective on everything.
Well, it points to things that you were never shown. Like there can be hidden doors all over the place. Unless you see them, you don't know that there's other options, right? Well, boats over the horizon, seasons, sunsets. You know, I can go up in the Khalifi Tower right after sunset and watch the sunset a second time. You don't understand that these things work perfectly on a flat Earth. Seasons don't work at all on a globe, but we believe that seasons prove the globe. So again, there's so much information. Here's the thing. My favorite podcast is called Crow 777 Radios with 2 R's in Crow. And he has a saying called belief is the enemy of knowing, right? So you believe a lot of things, but you don't know it. Like I'm in Mexico right now. Okay. So in 5 minutes from now, I said, where am I? If you had a good memory, you'd say you're in Mexico. Do you believe it or do you know it?
I believe it because I mean,
Yeah.
why would you lie about it? You know?
So there you go. So that's how we have our conscious mind and our subconscious memory. Our conscious mind screens everything. You heard me say I'm in Mexico. It sounded pretty confident. I hear waves in the background, maybe, and you stored that as a true thought, and you felt no need to go verify it, right?
Right.
So
I'm not going to be like Google Maps you, like where are you right now?
Yeah. So that's how we have to live our life. Because if you have to verify everything, you're never going to have time to do anything, right? Did you know that I was the 27th president of the United States? So in 5 minutes from now, if I said, "What did I say?" or "Was I ever the president?" you'd be able to recall that statement, and it was stored as false.
100% false.
Yeah. But you've concluded you have no need to ask me any further. You're like, I don't even need to clarify. This is a false statement, and you stored it as false. This is how our minds work.
Exactly.
Right?
I'll try one on you. Me and Justin Trudeau actually met once, and we're pretty good friends.
I would have more questions about that, and I would actually judge you for being good friends with him. But I would store that as it's possible, but I'm not sure. I doubt it.
No, I don't. I'm not. I never met him. I don't plan on it.
Yeah. So that's how our minds work. So you're taught things before you have the ability to think, right? You're taught, you go to kindergarten, there's a globe in the front of the class. They show you the guys that go to the North Pole and freeze their fingers off and have to eat their dogs because they're running out of food, and they make you never want to go to the North Pole or the South Pole, right? And these are things that keep you lost on the ball, right? If you live on their ball field, you have to play by their ball field rules, right? But we don't live on a ball field. We live on a level, non-rotating plane. We're at the center of creation, and we have incredible powers, incredible resources, and they want you to believe that we're running out of resources, that we're overpopulated. You ever fly across the United States? There's nothing. It's empty. There's nothing there. There's nothing. Okay? Let's just look body of water. There's nothing. It's just empty. All right? So they want you to believe in shortages and lack. They want you to believe that we're at the pinnacle of civilization right now, the best we've ever been. But if you look at all the old world buildings, stuff before they had power tools, allegedly, and, people with hammers and chisels and, donkeys and carts built these buildings and architecture that we couldn't even build today. They don't want you to know about the old world that was here just a couple hundred years ago of advanced civilization worldwide, way more advanced than we are now. And then something happened and there was some sort of reset. And here we are living in what I call the post-apocalyptic world with no memory of our past.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm even kind of just thinking about the whole globe model. Is there any type of like Like even you were just giving me some ideas of like is your floor flat? Like you were kind of giving me those examples to go by. What's one that you could recommend to people as like a maybe like a at home experiment for
Sure,
those
sure.
who for those who don't believe in flat Earth and are more onto the globe model? What's a compelling argument or some sort of at home experiment that they can try to sway them in the other direction?
Sure. So first you have to understand what the curvature formula of the globe is. So they tell us the globe is 24,901 miles around at the equator. So there would be a rate of curvature. Like if you drew a line straight out from underneath your feet, the farther out it goes, the lower the earth would drop below it, right? If you draw a straight line tangent with your feet, horizontal to your standing position, the farther out it goes, the faster it's dropping more and more. And that formula is based off of the Pythagorean theorem. Remember a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and you could figure out what the drop would be. And it's 8 inches per mile squared. So at 1 mile, there's an 8 inch drop. At 2 miles, 2 times 2 is 4 times 8 is 32 inches. At 3 miles, it's 6 feet. At 10 miles, it's 66 feet. At 100 miles, it's 6,600 feet of curvature. So you can go and get a super zoom camera, set it up at the water's edge as low as you can on a clear, calm day, and you can zoom in on things that should be hidden by the curve. You can zoom in on things that should be long below the curve, hundreds of feet, thousands of feet, depending on where you're doing it, and even miles. There's some shots from tops of mountains where we could see the Alps over 700 miles away. At 700 miles away, there's over 50 miles of curvature. When I say curvature, hold a basketball in front of your face and put like a little marble or a little toy boat on the top of it, and then sail that boat to the other side. You can't see it because it's behind curvature. Right. But we can see things that should be long hidden behind there. Right. Now, you can do these experiments yourself. You can go out and buy, well, you know what's funny? Nikon came out with the P1000 125 times zoom camera. And we call it the globe killer because we can zoom in on things that are impossible to see. And guess what? NASA, I don't know if your take is on NASA. NASA is the reason NASA was created is to hide the flat Earth. And they're a completely deceptive agency, but they literally bought out Nikon and did a contract with them to stop making that camera.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they stopped them from making that camera. And so it's very, very, very interesting. But that's one thing you do. I created an app. It's called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, right? And it's a $3 app. There are some social media interactions on there where you can create a social media account on there. You can interact with other people. You can do video calls. You can you can create meetups, and there's a matchmaker to find like-minded people. That requires a subscription. It's $11 a year. Okay, which is nothing. You ever buy someone a margarita? But for just the $3 app, it gives you all of the resources. I have a frequently asked questions page, and one of them that you'd be interested in is boats over the horizon, or we can see too far, or where does the sun go, right? Or why the lie? And all these videos, again, are being hidden from you on Google Earth. So why should you spend $3 on my app? Because it will change your life forever. And also, if you think I'm stupid, if you think flat Earth is the dumbest thing ever, I offer 3 Bitcoins. Now, Bitcoin is at 108,000. Well, no, I think it's around $100,000 right now. So that's $300,000. 3 Bitcoins for 1 globe proof. But so you don't waste my time, you have to get the app. And then there's a daily video. Every day there's hey, watch this video. Short videos during the week, longer ones on the weekend. And I say, just watch it every day while you're having your coffee or tea for 2 weeks. And at the end of that 2 weeks, if you think the Earth is a globe, send me your proof. Before you do, check the FAQ page and make sure it wasn't answered there. And let me tell you what happens. Don't take the challenge if you don't want to be a flat earther, because you will. The best way to become a flat earther is to try to debunk it with real information, not Google fed nonsense.
Yeah, those are because that was for the longest time. That was all I went by. Well, that's all I go by for a lot of things, because even people will do that for medical things. They're sick. They Google their symptoms, and then all of a sudden they have a medical degree.
Yeah.
So really, that's because for some people, Google's is just that's the only outlet they have to gather information, to learn about stuff, to learn about politics. You know.
Don't get me wrong though. Google will, you can learn lots on the internet. Having the internet is way more amazing than, pre-internet. I mean, you could look up stuff quickly, and then you gotta trust and verify though, because Google doesn't feed you truthful information on the shape of the earth. It doesn't feed you truthful information on cures for diseases. That's all we'll say here. It doesn't feed you a lot of truthful information. It hides it, but there are ways to find it. So that's why I created the app, because it bypasses the Google censorship, and it's quite amazing. But again, on my website, tons of free information. All right. Check it out. Turn off Netflix. Watch the first 3 or 10 videos in the crash course. And then you just might want to have the app, because it's in your pocket all the time. When you're talking to somebody, you'll be able to pull up anything you want. There's image searching, there's video searching, all censorship free. And it's kind of it's life-changing. It certainly is life-changing.
That's so cool. That's really, really cool. Do you ever like butt heads with people in a way where if they don't believe in flat Earth, is there ever any tension, or is it one of those things where it's okay, it's your opinion,
Yeah, well, no, there's what we have different types of people out there. You have your it's highly indoctrinated people, and the worst are teachers. Don't get me wrong, teachers have great hearts, but how do you become a teacher? How do you become a science teacher, a social studies teacher, or a history teacher? You memorize what's in the Rockefeller textbook, and then you write it down on a test, and then you get a degree in memorization and regurgitation. It's not education. It's literally memorization and regurgitation. That's how you climb the levels in the teaching profession. And if you question things, you're not going to get an A. You're not going to get published. All of these things happen. So you have people that just want to believe they got straight A's, and they won't. They're like, well, the book says this, the book says that. You can write a book on anything. Then there's other people that know, but for some reason, whatever's motivating them, whether it's money or who knows, demonic forces, who knows, they're out there trying to obfuscate the truth about the realm that we live in. I mean, go outside and use your common God-given senses and look at the sun, look at the moon, forget everything you were told and sold. It's right there. It's right in our sky. It's in our enclosed world. What happens when you open a soda can? What's it doing? It's equalizing instantly and violently, right? Yeah. So how do we live on a lumpy rock surrounded by curved water that never shows convexity when it's at rest? We can see with lasers dozens of miles, right? And there's no curvature, right? And then that's surrounded by high pressure air, which is adjacent to a void of no pressure called the space vacuum, right? So how come the air doesn't violently shoot off into space? Because air violently fills the available space, and the only answer that is given is gravity. Gravity's holding the air down. Okay, well, gravity is so supposedly stronger next to Earth than it is up in hundreds of thousands of feet. Okay, so how can I take a straw and pull air up and away from the ground, from down below my mouth, or water up and away from the earth with a very, 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 very weak low pressure system of my mouth and lungs, when the vacuum of space can't pull the air away? These are things that you've never thought about. And when you do, two things are going to happen. One of two things is going to happen. One, you're just going to be like, it can't be true. There's something wrong with it. I need to make up an excuse. Or two, your God-given common sense is going to kick in and go, I was taught a bunch of nonsense. Narnia nonsense. That's what cosmology is. Here's something funny. I took 4 years of astronomy in college, right, just as an elective, because I was awesome at it. I was so good at it. I was the star in the class.
And you clearly liked it too.
and I liked it, right? But the first year is when Cosmos came out with Carl Sagan, and I was watching that. It was on once a week, and I go to my astronomy class, and the teacher's like, "Hey, we're going to go from chapter 1 to chapter 18. We're going to jump to," and he was following the show. He was like literally watching it and then teaching from the show and going to the appropriate chapter in the book. So I knew all the answers, and that's where I just fell in love with it. I was so good at it, and I believed it. But now when I look at it, it's all pseudoscience. It's all nonsense. I used to laugh at astrology. Astrology is the real science. Astronomy is complete and total nonsense.
And science is science too, in a way, really.
Well, science is a word. What is science? It's the scientific method. You have to have a naturally occurring dependent variable, an independent variable. You have to be able to observe it, repeat it, and do an actual scientific experiment, right? That scientific method is never, ever, ever used in astronomy. It's all assumption and nonsense. Michio Kaku said in the world of theoretical physics that they're off by a power of 10 to the 120th power. Okay. That's a number that is you can't fathom it. You can't fathom 30 digits, let alone 120, right? It's too big of a number, right?
Yeah.
And that's how far they're off. They say, in science, if you're off by a factor of 2 or 10, it's horrible. Well, astrophysics is off by 10 to 120th power, according to their top guy.
Right.
Crazy. It's such a big number that you just dismiss it as like, well, something's wrong with that statement.
Yeah, clearly, and then just don't even think about it.
Yeah, don't think about it, because as I was saying before, Crow. I forgot to finish my thought. Belief is the enemy of knowing, right? Because belief is easy, takes no effort. Knowing takes time and effort. You want to believe in Mexico, you got to go research it. You got to look. Oh, here's a picture on Facebook. Look, and that water's kind of blue, and you grab the metadata off of it or whatever. And then oh, yeah, I guess he is in Mexico. Right. So, belief takes no effort. You believe and then take a nap. Doesn't matter. Go drink a beer. Doesn't matter. Knowing takes time and effort. So you can believe you live on a globe, not know anything about it, think you know everything about it, think that you know everything about flat Earth, or you can know that you know nothing about the globe and you know nothing about flat Earth. And once you find out, knowing, it literally changes your life. Everything. It changes everything.
Right. It's one of those things you think you know until you're tasked with it. Like you see someone building something or fixing a tap, or a sink or something like that, and you go, "Oh, it's fine. I could probably fix it." And then once you go to do it, you're like, "Oh shit, I actually don't know." You know what I mean?
Correct.
Yeah, that's exactly it. How do you deal? With like mainstream scientists, or maybe just like the public in general, who might think differently and stuff. Especially mainstream scientists.
Yeah, in 2014, when I first started this, everyone just, oh my God, flat Earth, you're so stupid. Now people are like, this is interesting. Let's talk about it. The mainstream scientists won't talk to us because they can't. Because if they do, their entire life crumbles. So their inner conscious being says, don't talk to them. Don't do it. Don't do it. They won't. A couple of them have. And they get destroyed when they come on the debate shows, right? I'm not a big fan of the debate shows because there's people there that are just going to hold on to their position no matter what. They won't learn anything. I'm into having conversations like this with you, where I'm going to make you think and I'm going to give you the resources to go prove it yourself. Don't believe anything I tell you. Don't believe any of the trolls that show up in the comment section. Don't believe anybody. Verify, trust nobody, verify all things.
Exactly, because I'm no science guy, and people might hear some of my answers and go, "Oh, geez, well, this guy's stupid." Well, I'm not a scientist. I don't study this stuff. You know what I mean? So that's why I love having people like you on who are able to educate me on that.
Well, here's the other thing. Don't short sell yourself. You have common sense, right? When you go outside on a calm morning. Where do you live, in the suburbs, or where are you?
Suburbs, yeah.
Yeah, so go out on a calm morning, really calm morning, and go out there and go sit up in your yard, sit and close your eyes and ask yourself, if you're facing the sunrise, am I falling forward towards the sun faster than the speed of sound, right? Because the earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. And orbiting the sun at 66,600 miles per hour, speeding up and slowing down, averaging that speed? Am I chasing the sun at an additional 500,000 miles an hour in a third direction? Right?
Stuff that you wouldn't think about. I wouldn't think about that, but
yeah, but that's what you have to believe. And then the entire solar system is moving sideways at 2.5 million miles per hour. Okay, in a fourth direction, right? But meanwhile, if you go out and take a picture of the stars tonight at 10 p.m. next year at the same time, same night, or in 10 years, same time, same night, take the same picture. Every single star will be in the exact same location, even though we move 4.5 billion miles a year, never to return to where we were before because we're chasing the sun through the galaxy. All the other stars are moving in all their directions, but no two stars have ever crossed each other's path due to parallax, right? So these are things that you don't think about, right? So now shake that off, close your eyes and say, is the Earth completely stationary on a solid foundation? Is it never not moving? Is the stars and the sun and the moon circling above my head just as they appear? Right? Let me ask you a question. In the heliocentric globe model, what are we orbiting around? The sun.
The sun.
Right. What are the other
I knew
planets?
That. No.
Yeah. I know, but people don't think about it so much that you actually have to think about it. What are all the other planets orbiting around?
Jupiter.
Jupiter's orbiting what? Sun. They're all the planets go around the sun, right?
Right. Mars, Venus, Earth.
Yeah. So Venus is the closest, and Mars or Venus. I'm forgetting all the planets now.
Mercury.
Mercury, Venus, Mercury, Earth, Mars, Saturn, Pluto, right? All the way out to, all the way out. So they're all orbiting the sun. Now, why is our North Star special? Do you know?
No, I don't know.
Why doesn't it appear to move according to the heliocentric model? Do you know? It's okay.
Yeah, no, I don't.
So because the Earth, they tell us the Earth is a globe and it's spinning on an axis. And if you extended the axis from the South Pole through the North Pole out into space, it points right at Polaris. And so when we spin, all the other stars appear to be spinning around Polaris because Polaris is lined up with our axis of rotation. Does that make sense?
Right. Okay. I'm just kind of envisioning.
If you had a basketball,
mm-hmm.
and you had a whole bunch of Christmas lights, a whole array of lights on the ceiling, right? And the basketball, you spin the basketball, but you have a pole coming out of where it's spinning. That pole points up to one light. And so no matter where you are on that basketball, you're going to be spinning, and that one light is going to stay in the same spot. All the other lights are going to make circles around it because you're spinning.
Right.
So here, it's hard to explain these things, but that's the official story of our solar system. So if Mars had a North Star, well, it wouldn't be the same North Star. It would be whatever their axis of rotation is pointing at. And if Jupiter had a North Star, if it's rotating, it has a North Star, it would just be different. So our North Star is only special to us, is the point I'm making.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So the funny thing is all of the other planets, the sun, the moon, asteroids, Halley's Comet, they all circle Polaris in beautiful sacred geometry, spirographic shapes. They all go around Polaris. Hard for you to wrap your mind around that. I encourage people on my website, flatearthdave.com. You'll see all my YouTube and social media channels. Check out my X, Flat Earth Dave X, and check out Flat Earth Dave Interviews 2, the Flat Earth Dave Interviews 2 channel. I have lots of interviews like this where I show graphics and stuff, and I talk about this and I show it. And it'll really help it sink in. But here's the thing. If you don't want to take the time and effort, you shouldn't even be listening to the show anymore, because this show is introducing you to something that will change your life forever. But it's up to you to take those steps, right? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. You can lead a man to knowledge, but you can't make them think.
That's good. I like that. I don't think I've ever heard of that statement. Well, I heard of the horse one, but that knowledge one, I never heard of that one before. That's cool.
It's a fact. Well, it's a fact, Jack.
That's so good. Wow. It's a lot of information to take in too. Well, I mean, especially as someone like me, I mean, not that I didn't, pay attention to this.
Stop. downplaying yourself. The less you pay attention in school, the smarter you are.
Yes,
okay?
that's true.
The less education you have, the more your mind hasn't been indoctrinated and trained to believe in Rockefeller funded nonsense. Let me ask you a question. When we hang up this thing, let's say you have a couple hours tonight to go research stuff. Where are you going to look?
I will look on your app, right?
Well, what if you don't have my app? Where would you go look?
Maybe I'll stay away from Google.
My website.
Your website, flatearth.com.
No.
What is it again?
FlatEarthDave.com.
FlatEarthDave.com. Well, come on.
FlatEarthDave.com. Yeah.
For a second, I'm like, is this a trick question? I'm
So,
like,
no.
I'm not going to say Google.
Here's the thing. It's the reason I push my website is because I have lots of stuff on there. This is Flat Earth 101. There's advanced stuff on my app. There's a homeschool section. There's great stuff in there. More advanced stuff. There's the old world section. Check that out. Right. If anyone that gets the app, there's people just I have these very informational pop-ups when you first set it up, and one of them says, long press any button to see what it does. And people just exit out. They just like, get rid of the pop-up, get rid of the pop-up. It's just a one-time pop-up. Long press, because people are like, I don't know what this button does. Just hold your finger on the button and it'll tell you what it does, because there's a lot of buttons on the app because it does so much. And I encourage people, check it out. Don't believe anything I say. If you think this is dumb, come collect your Bitcoins, 3 of them. And you'll see it makes all the difference in the world.
It really does. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a lot to take in for sure. So yeah, flatearthdave.com, guys. Make sure you go check that out. And then also, of course, the Flat Earth podcast as well, too, which you're still doing, correct?
Yep, it's on. Well, we do them there because I do so many interviews that we're slow on the interviews on the episodes. But if you haven't heard them, start from the beginning. They're all on my website, on the bottom of the website. There, you can find them all in one place. The only thing you have to remember for everything I've talked about is flatearthdave.com. Right?
Yeah, flatearthdave.com.
You'll find my socials there. You'll find the app there. You'll find I'm going to actually be speaking in Anarchapulco. If you want to get away from the cold, on February 16th through the 21st, there's a conference called Anarchapulco in Acapulco, Mexico. And you can watch virtually also. And I've got a killer presentation. It's going to be amazing.
Ooh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So yeah, guys, definitely be sure to go on that. Dave, thank you so much for all the insight too. Just everything that you've been teaching me today too. A little deja vu. Feels like 6th grade science class again too. It's nice. But thank you for taking the time to come on today, and just congratulations on all your success and everything.
Frankie, just check it out. Just remember, don't believe the trolls. When you're over the target, you get the most flack. There's so much flack out there. Don't believe anything anyone says. Verify everything. And I'm telling you, go to my website, watch the Crash Course videos. The first 3, they're actually really good videos. You'll really like them, right? And most people that start the Crash Course, they end up going through I think there's like 40 or 50 videos. They end up watching them all, and they love them because it's great, and it's all free too. So there you go.
Right. Perfect. So thank you for that, Dave. Guys, we are going to take a short break. We will be right back. But until then, this is Frankie and Flat Earth Dave, or David Weiss, signing off. Thanks, David.
Thanks, man. See ya.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Corcoran Entertainment Show. That was me and David, or Flat Earth Dave, however you want to call him. Thank you so much, Dave, for coming on. And guys, be sure to check out flatearthdave.com and leave your thoughts with regards to, is the Earth flat? Feel free to just give your opinions. If you agree with Dave, if you're not, it is what it is. Everybody has their own opinions. But definitely be sure to check out and see what he's got to offer. And thank you, Dave, for coming on today. I really appreciate it. So moving on to our first solo discussion today. So a while back, I think it was around December-ish or so, we heard reports that seemed to have been confirmed. Now, where they were confirmed from, I don't know, because now they're kind of backpedaling on this. They announced that Chris Evans, of course, Captain America, is coming back for Avengers Doomsday. They never specified what kind of a role he'd be playing, if he'd be playing Steve Rogers, if he would be doing a similar thing to Robert Downey Jr., where he's playing a completely different character. And so it was spreading like wildfire, and it was seemingly confirmed. Now we're finding out maybe it's not. And we heard this from Chris Evans himself. This is an article from Variety. Chris Evans denies returning to Marvel for Avengers Doomsday, saying that's not true, and I'm happily retired. So there's a little bit of the article here. I'm kind of just going to go through the more and important parts of it. So Anthony Mackie was being asked about Chris Evans' return. He says, he told Esquire magazine, "I didn't know. I talked to Chris a few weeks ago, and it wasn't on the table then. At least he didn't tell me it was on the table because I asked him. I was like, they said they're bringing everyone back for the movie. Are you coming back?" He goes, "Oh, I'm happily retired." And then I learned right there, he continued, my manager showed up. He's like, "Oh, I guess Chris is coming back. That's all I know. I haven't seen a script." So then Chris Evans, so first off, Anthony Mackie, of course, is Falcon, who is the new Captain America. Captain America Brave New World is coming out this Friday. So they're doing press and stuff like that. So that's where that came from. That's what he was promoting and stuff like that. So then Chris Evans spoke to Esquire for the magazine's Mackie cover story and disputed the report that he will be back for the next Avengers movie. While the actor last appeared as Captain America in Endgame, he did make a surprise cameo in last year in Deadpool and Wolverine as Johnny Storm, which was just a completely separate character universe altogether, which was just hilarious. So Evans said, "That's not true, though. This always happens. I mean, it happens every couple of years. Ever since Endgame, I've just stopped responding to it. Yeah, no, happily retired." And so yeah, that's what it says there. Now, has my stance changed on the whole should he come back situation? It hasn't changed. Back in December, I said I didn't like it at all that they were just bringing him back, and that how desperate it felt. And I still, the Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom thing, it still screams desperate to me. And so I kind of wanted to just clarify why I think this is desperate, because as soon as you say it's desperate, people just start saying, come on, that's stupid. How is it desperate to bring two of the biggest characters in the MCU back? It's desperate because they've told their story. The story was told. It's done. It's so people have made the argument that, well, if they bring him back for Doomsday and Secret Wars, it can properly give him a proper conclusion. That's what Endgame was, though. That's the problem. Endgame was the big conclusion to Captain America or Steve Rogers' story. It was the big conclusion to Tony Stark and Robert Downey Jr.'s time in Marvel. If you just bring them back, like they use all these sports analogies and saying that, it's just like bringing back your old retired sports player for a big game. It's like, no, that's not really the same thing. They did their time. I think that's done. And it's desperate because of the reason they were going through a bad rap with the Jonathan Majors thing. There's reports that they were considering bringing him back and this and that. I don't think that is the case. So they were kind of getting a bad rap. And then all of a sudden, boom, they announce Robert Downey Jr. is coming back as Dr. Doom. We planned it for years and this and that, and they were talking about that. I'm like, no, they didn't plan it for years. It was just, to me, it just seemed just very, like, we need something good. We got to keep, like it's. I'm trying to muster up the words here on my feelings towards this, because it screams desperate, because the story's been told. Everything that Robert Downey Jr. did with the MCU, like I just think if you bring them back, it's just going to prove that nothing's ever going to change. There's not going to be any more emotional stakes or anything. I mean, Robert Downey Jr., I guess, might be different because he's Doctor Doom, and he's not coming back as Tony Stark. But Chris Evans apparently was coming back as Captain America. While that wasn't confirmed, I was hearing reports that was the case. Maybe, I don't know. They didn't disclose what role he would have played in or played. So the way I see it is, it's like if James Gunn was doing it, like I remember he after Guardians 2 when they killed off Michael Rooker's character Yondu, there was a big thing of he'll be back, and James Gunn was firm, like, no, he's dead, he's not coming back. They brought him back as a ghost in a hallucination scene in Guardians 3, but that was it. They didn't bring him back to life. Like, if they brought them back as hallucinations, I'd be fine with that, but bringing them back as like key characters, I don't really, that's just, yeah, their stories were told, and I just think it's pure desperation. I really, really do. But I'm open-minded, though. That's the thing. I'm open-minded. All of the possibilities. Maybe it works. Maybe it doesn't. But I think the best route to be or to go is to just out with the old, in with the new. I know that Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr., they're two of the big reasons why Marvel was thriving the last few years. And they were responsible for a lot of the MCU success. And I completely agree with that. I see that and I accept that. But emotionally, like all the emotional stakes and stuff like that aren't going to be there anymore, because if a character dies, okay, then it's fine. They'll be back soon, I guess maybe it'd be more desperate if they brought Thanos back. That would be just complete pure desperation. But yeah, I just think it's one of those things where they're putting the actors and stuff before the actual story. So anyways, that's my thoughts on it. But I think with regards to Chris Evans' comments, we should take it with a grain of salt, because this could be another Andrew Garfield situation where he says he's not in it and he's pretty insistent on it. And then there's times where you're like, oh crap, he actually sounds sincere. And Chris Evans is a great actor, as is Andrew Garfield. So maybe he's lying. I don't know. So take it with a grain of salt. But I kind of hope he's right and that he's done. He's happily retired. But we'll see what happens. I guess. But anyways, be sure to let me know your thoughts on that, guys. Do you think Chris Evans is in fact coming back to the MCU? Is it desperate? Is it not? Be sure to let me know what you think in the comments or social media and all that stuff. This episode of the Corkin Entertainment Show is brought to you by Audiobooks. This website allows customers to choose from over 125,000 of the best sellers and hottest titles of all genres. Audiobooks can be downloaded directly to one of the free iPhone, iPad, or Android apps, or streamed instantly from almost any internet-enabled device to listen to. Whether you're driving, doing chores, or going for walks, Audiobooks is there for you anytime, anywhere. Not sure if audiobooks are your thing? No worries. Audiobooks.com offers a 30-day free trial. That means you can explore thousands of titles at no cost to you. If you find that audiobooks aren't quite your style, you can cancel anytime, no strings attached. With such a low-risk opportunity, why not give it a go? Sign up for a free 30-day trial today using the link in our episode description to let audiobooks.com know that we sent you. This episode of the Corkin Entertainment Show is brought to you by Taylor Brands. Are you ready to take your brand to the next level? Whether you're launching a new business, scaling your side hustle, or just want to give your existing brand a glow up, then I highly recommend you check out Taylor Brands. Taylor Brands is an all-in-one branding platform that empowers entrepreneurs and creatives like you to express your unique identity online. Their user-friendly platform helps you design logos, business cards, social media posts, and all the promotional materials that you need to get your brand noticed. And it doesn't stop there. With Taylor Brands, you'll also get access to powerful tools to manage your social media presence and create high-quality marketing content, all tailored specifically for your brand. Join the thousands of satisfied entrepreneurs who have transformed their business identities with Taylor Brands. Sign up today and use the link in our episode description to let Taylor Brands know that we sent you. And so with that down, let's move on to our last discussion topic today, which is talking about one of probably my most anticipated television show of this year, is the Malcolm in the Middle revival. So of course they announced back in December that we are getting a Malcolm in the Middle revival, where it's going to be a 4-episode sequel series. I'm not sure if they're putting it under the same name or if they're going to call it something else like Malcolm Middle 2. I don't know what they'll call it. But either way, yeah. So Malcolm in the Middle, I still say is one of the best shows ever made. Period. Like it really is, even to this day, is still one of the funniest and best written shows ever. And so they were always talking for years about bringing it back in some way. And so it was officially announced on Instagram and all that stuff like that a while back that we are getting 4 new episodes on Disney Plus. And the 3 confirmed people that we know already are Bryan Cranston is coming back as Hal, Jane Kaczmarek is coming back as Lois, and Frankie Muniz, of course, as Malcolm. I mean, there'd be no Malcolm in the Middle without him. So, we got a little bit of an update. It was like they announced it, and then things were kind of dark, and we'd hear like some bits and pieces here and there. But Frankie Muniz was interviewed on Screen Rant. He's in a new movie, a new thriller film, and called Renner. And he talked a little bit about some details with regards to it. So this is what he says. So it says in the article, in an interview with Screen Rant for his upcoming AI thriller Renner, Muniz shares, I'm not sure if it's Muniz or Muniz. I hear two of his, I say Muniz. Muniz shared a few details regarding the revival of Malcolm in the Middle. Muniz said that the revival was originally pitched as a 2-hour movie, but for the sake of Disney Plus, it was turned into a 4-episode series, which with each installment running about 30 minutes long, telling one single storyline. Muniz said that there's potential for more after stating, "We'll see what happens after that." And the full quote is, I mean, originally, I think it was pitched as like a movie, as a feature, like a 2-hour movie. And for the sake of it being a Disney Plus, it's 4 30-minute episodes, but it's really one storyline, if that makes sense. You're going to see everybody and figure out where they've been and what they're doing. And we leave it on a great note, and we'll see what happens after that. So basically he's opening up and saying that this might not be just 4 episodes. This could be more, depending on maybe like the reception and stuff like that of the current revival. So we'll see what happens with that. But just to kind of give my thoughts and just my expectations for what's to come of it, I'm so stoked for this. Like, this is... It's one of those things where certain revivals can work. Like Full House, when they did Fuller House, I thought the first episode was really, really good. And then when they dragged it on for 5 seasons and it had a lot of ups and downs throughout it, and they were switching writers and stuff like that. And so that was a little like, okay, it still worked, I guess. But with this right here, they got all the same writers and producers and stuff like that from Malcolm in the Middle. Bryan Cranston's even taken a part in the writing as well. And the fact that it's just 4 episodes, yeah, it might not seem like much, but it's better than dragging out and doing like a 20-episode season and stuff like that without having... So I think it's good to start with 4 episodes, and if it gets better from the, or like, they can just see what happens, and if it improves or whatever and stuff like that, we could get more of it. But I think this is great, though. I really think this will work, especially because you got all the same writers and stuff. Start off with 4 episodes. That's a perfect way to start. And so that's why I have complete faith. I expect nothing but good things from it. I know that there's been lots of reports on who else is going to be in it. I already mentioned that we have Cranston and Kaczmarek and Frankie Muniz is coming back, but we have yet to hear. They talk a little bit about here in the article. It says, however, I'm not sure if all the brothers are returning. This is the Screen Rant article reading this. Justin Burfield, Malcolm's older brother Reese, has been away from the spotlight since 2012, and Sullivan, Eric Sullivan, who played Dewey, left acting altogether back in 2010 and even skipped the cast reunions. Hopeful that the revival and the 3 confirmed returning actors' involvement will inspire Burfield and Sullivan to not only come back to the characters, but acting as well, if that's what they want. And by all means, I mean, like, this is something that people need to understand. This is kind of a similar situation to the Olsen twins, where, yes, it would have been nice to see them come back in Fuller House, even just for one appearance, because of just how important Michelle was to Full House. And but I think at the end of the day, people just had to respect that just they didn't want to be involved with it anymore. And so I think if Dewey, the guy who plays Dewey, if he decides not to come back, they just let it be. They don't throw shade at him. They don't do nothing like that. He's out of the spotlight, just let him live his life. That's the way I see it. And that's something that I really think in Fuller House, they should have been more considerate with regards to, because it wasn't their choice to be on Full House. They were literally babies when they started, and yes, sure, you can argue that they would have a career if it wasn't for that, but they don't have any memory. They don't have the same emotional attachment as some of the other cast members, like John Stamos and them, would have had. Maybe Dewey's a different situation, because I mean, he wasn't a baby when he started. He was he was a kid, like 6-7 years old, something like that. But still, that is pretty young though. So yeah, it's an interesting situation to see what's going to come of it. Do I think it's necessary to have them all there? I think it would benefit. Like, if you can't get them all back, okay, it is what it is. I'm sure they'll work around it. But as many cast members as you can get, I'd love to see Gary Anthony Williams come back as Abe. I'd love to see Stevie's actor come back. Francis, I really, really hope comes back. But either way, I mean, it doesn't really matter who comes back. I'm just super stoked that they're even doing this at all. If it doesn't work, okay, it's not going to ruin Malcolm in the Middle, because I mean, we have 7 seasons to look at that were just perfection. So yeah, it is what it is, and I'm just, as I said, just stoked that we're getting this at all. We could have gotten nothing. So those are my expectations. I'm expecting it to be good. And it's by far my most anticipated show of 2025. I think it's 2025 it's coming out, they said. But 2025, 2026, either way, I'm super stoked to see it. I still watch it on Disney Plus on a regular basis too, so it's a lot of fun. Anyways, guys, be sure to let me know your thoughts. If you first off, if you haven't seen Malcolm in the Middle, if you have Disney Plus, check it out now. I highly recommend it. And if so, what are your expectations for the revival, if you have any at all? Definitely be sure to let me know what you guys think on that end. And we're going to call it for the show today, guys. I want to thank my guest, David Weiss, for coming on. Be sure to check out his website, flatearthdave.com, and find out all that he does, and give your thoughts on whether you think the earth is flat. Be interesting to see what everyone thinks. So thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. But until then, this is Frankie signing off. Have a great week, everybody. Enjoy your week. Stay warm and all that good stuff.